Hey everyone!
Welcome to our podcast, Clocking In, with your hosts, Sophia,
Ayla,
Tristan,
and Isa.
In today's episode, we're going to be diving into the topic of the influence that social media has on today's modern culture. So we can't wait to share our thoughts and hear y'all's as well. So let's get into it.
first and foremost, social media has a very heavy influence on people's lives every day. Some people can build connections and talk to people around the world, while others get jobs or express themselves more creatively than they could in person. Some people are able to share stories and build a sense of community and find support when they really need it. But social media also has many drawbacks and negative effects on people too.
Do you guys remember the DV trend that happened back in 2022?
Yes, I remember, people were committing crimes such as theft, and it affected people even like us. Remember in our middle school where people were stealing stuff from our bathrooms, such as soap dispensers, and it caused the schools to, lock up the restrooms, and it was very damaging because, it took away such a necessity that people needed in their everyday lives.
And not only that, but because of this trend, many schools and businesses were forced to pay out of their own pocket in order to repair these things and bring them back.
But on the topic of money, have y'all heard of Sephora kids?
Yeah.
They're going into these stores and they're just destroying all these products that Sephora has to reimburse and pay for themselves, that they can't get the money back on them.
And it's not only the financial part, it's just with the girls themselves. Like, I've seen so many young girls waking up at 5 in the morning to do their skincare and their makeup, and they're honestly damaging their skin more than they are trying to help it, especially with their skincare. They're buying stuff that is not age appropriate for them, like retinol, which is like an anti-aging serum. And these girls are not aging whatsoever, and it is just so harmful.
Mm-hmm. And, speaking of appearances, there's like an uprise in unhealthy eating habits such as mukbangs, where people are eating on camera for an unhealthy amount of time, and it's just causing so much damage to their bodies. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen, that woman who was on live for 10 hours on TikTok, and she ended up dying as a result because she just ate so much and her body couldn't handle it, and it was just promoting such an unhealthy lifestyle for everyone who uses social media.
And there's also like the flip side of it, like anorexia. I've seen so many people share their stories how they've lost loved ones and friends to anorexia because especially with young girls, it is implanted in their head that they need to be so sick and so thin and so small to be attractive. And it is so harmful, especially at the age that these girls are seeing this as, because they're so young. They're going to keep that with them as they grow up forever.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but it happens with boys as well, especially with influencers like Andrew Tate. He has impacted a lot of young men, like, mentality on, like, toxic masculinity and misogyny, on how, like, they should be treating women as objects or property.
But not only that, these boys are so young that they're affected by this for their entire lives, thinking like, oh, this is how it should be, this is how I should treat women, but really it's not.
Yeah. So, circling back to the reason why we made this episode, we wanted to highlight, the impact that social media has played into the culture of, society's day-to-day lives, and we need to understand that, spreading awareness is a way that we can help solve this issue, and also just understanding that we need to limit how social media overall just consumes our lives, and how we shouldn't let it get in the way of how we live.
So thank you everyone for listening to our episode, and we would love to hear your comments, so please feel free to share them. This is Clocking In, and it is now time for us to clock out. Bye!
Remember, it is important to understand the effects that social media can have on the minds of young teens. If you or anyone you know is struggling with these issues, please feel free to contact any of these supporting hotlines. The number to the Eating Disorder Hotline, 800-931-2237, and the Suicide Hotline, 988.